Dear ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud to welcome you to my first video, in which we will take a look at a historical Spanish silver coin that I picked up recently, dating back to 1723. And that's 297 years. And I know, it's still 3 years short of 300 years, but hey, what the heck. It's 3 centuries old and that's almost 8 times my age. That could be 8 persons of my age who are holding this coin all the way back to the moment in time that this coin was struck. My main interest in regards to the precious metal of silver is the stacking of silver bullion for wealth preservation for the most part, but I have no problem of picking up a historical silver coin along the way. I just love history and different aspects of it, and if I would combine my interest of silver bullion stacking with silver historical currency, I would have become a partial numismatic collector. But of course my main focus and the most part of my budget for silver goes into silver bullion coins, because banking interests in money savings are very low or non-existent at all. So without no further ado, the 1723 Felipe V dos Reales silver coin. The silver content of these dos reales was on average about around the 80 to 90%. Think it would depend on how many silver was available at the time and what the yearly expenses of the royal treasury were. But the 1723 version is said to have a percentage of 90% silver. The diameter of this specific coin is approximately 28 millimeters. The thickness is not even 1 millimeter. And this coin weighs somewhere around 5.2 grams. That's less than usual, but this is a very worn coin, and perhaps people tried and have shaved off silver clippings of the edges. I've looked at some other years and these sometimes weigh 1 to 1.5 gram more. It could be perhaps that the strips of silver alloy where the coins were made out of were thinner in respect to other years. It could be possible, but how many of these coins have been struck is unknown. But what I do know is that this is a rare coin that you will not see often, although other years could be even rarer than this 1723 coin. So Philip V was the king of Spain from the 1st of November 1700 until July the 9th, 1746. During January 1724 and September 1724, he stepped down from the throne in favor of his son Louis, but his reign was short-lived as King Louis died of smallpox sadly. King Louis was burned in the Cripta real del Monasterio de el Escorial. And thus King Philip would take over again and continue to rule until his own death in 1746. And he was buried in the royal palace grounds of La Granja de San Ildefonso. King Philip was actually a member of the French House of Bourbon, and was born in the Palace of Versailles. He, however, was in no position to ever hope wearing the French crown because of his place in the line of succession. When in 1700 his maternal uncle, King Charles II of Spain, died childless, it was thus that Philip V of the French House of Bourbon could get his chance of wearing a crown. Not a French one, but a Spanish one. And the reason for this is that King Charles II of Spain had named Philip V as his heir in his will. This, however, wasn't to the liking of the British, Austrians and the Dutch, who now feared that a combination of Spain and France under one crown was an unwanted shift in the balance of European power, eventually leading to diverse wars, one of which was the War of the Spanish Succession. which raged from 1701 to 1714. The Bourbon alliance was made up mainly of France and Spain, together with Hungary, Portugal, Savoy, Liege, Cologne and Bavaria, taking part for a shorter period of time. The opposing Grand Alliance consisted of Great Britain, the Holy Roman Empire, Habsburg Spain, the Dutch Republic with their allies Prussia, and later in the war Savoy and Portugal, who had switched sides. The War of the Spanish Succession didn't end well for Philip V in terms of military gains, because he was forced to cede over territory in Europe and some important ports like Gibraltar to the English, and furthermore trade rights and other things to the victors. Although the Grand Alliance consisted of multiple members, it was the UK who would win most of this war and would establish itself as a more dominant power over France, Spain and the Dutch Republic, especially when it came to the financial sector. On the plus side, Philip V could retain his crown, but he had to relinquish all rights to the French throne. He married in 1701 with Maria Louisa of Savoy, who passed away in 1714 at the age of 26, and it could be very well that this was one of the main reasons of his future state of depression. In 1714 he was remarried to Elizabeth Farnese of Parma. His reign was, as partially already mentioned, stricken with wars and introducing unwanted reorganizations throughout the empire and in his own country of Spain. And although the population of Spain grew, taxation wasn't well regulated, and thus the treasury didn't receive more and optimum taxation, which is needed for the army and its costly wars, plus the lavish lifestyle spending of the royal court by Philip V. Although Spain escaped bankruptcy on diverse occasions, it couldn't escape it anymore in 1738 and suspended its debts. The Dos Reales we have over here in terms of appearance and design was in use between 1716 and 1740. There are two versions, one of which is the Segovia type and the other one is the Madrid type, which I have over here in my hands. And how to tell it's a Madrid one? Over here on this side you can see a crowned M, and this stands for Madrid, where the coin was minted. This is the obverse, and in the middle we can see the crowned coat of arms of Philip V. The coat of arms is in a rather good condition, and we can see the French fleur-de-lis in the middle, surrounded by other arms combined in this coat of arms worn by Philip V. Over here on this side we have an R, which stands for Reales. And on the other side of the coat of arms in Latin, we see the 2 or dos. Furthermore, the crowned M, which stands for the place where it was minted, the Madrid, like mentioned. And on this side, we have the initial of the person who was responsible for the quality of this coin, who was Antonio de Cardeña. Although this coin is worn, we can still make out the lettering, which is, as we will turn it clockwise, Philippus. The fifth with the V, D and G. And DG would then mean Dei Gratia, by the grace of God. And this is a milled coin, meaning that it is a coin which was made by a set of machines instead of hammering coins by hand between two molds or dies. And the advantage of milled coins are a uniform shape, a uniform weight. More could be produced by machines than a human could, and this was needed for a growing economy, which in turn needed silver coin currency. And it, on the plus side, made it also harder to counterfeit some of these silver coins, or to shave off silver off the edges. So the reverse shows, I'm guessing, what is the combined arms of the crown of Castile and Aragon, which would stand for the whole of Spain. The coat of arms of Castile definitely are the lions and castle. Castile is castle in linguistic terms. And in the Netherlands we use the word kasteel. So the Netherlands kasteel, in English castle, and in Spanish Castilla. The coat of arms of Aragon is red and gold. And that in heraldic terms would mean gules and or. Gules is red and or is gold. Now it's difficult to do coloring, but I do know that in seals, etc., a set of markings was used to convey which color a certain symbol or quarter was in a coat of arms. Because a seal in that time would be red or some standard color, as some of you might have seen in your lives, and I mean the wax seals. The coat of arms is set in an octalope, which means a nice figure with 8 petals, as we can see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The lettering says, well, this part is burned out, but we can still see HISPANIARUM. And then we see Rex over here, HISPANIARUM Rex, and the issuing year of 1723. And HISPANIARUM Rex in this case would mean the King of Spain. And what some of you might don't know is that HISPANIARUM is actually Hispania and Rum together, and Rum stands for Rome. The price I paid for this coin was 22 euros, which would equate to 24 US dollars and 68 cents. And I paid no shipping costs because I purchased this coin together in a large lot, so with other coinage. From what I've researched, the value of a 1723 dos reales lies in the range of 20 US dollars going up to $90 depending on the quality. This is a rather worn coin and thus sits at the lower end of the value spectrum. So paying 22 euros or 24 US dollars 68 cents wasn't too bad for owning such a piece of silver currency history. Especially because it comes from a country that had a global empire and was well known for massive amounts of silver shipped over from the New World. I'm happy to have this marvelous coin in my silver collection now, and I hope you enjoyed watching and listening to me telling about this coin. Subscribe to see more videos in regards to other historical coins, silver bullion coins, or to Euro coin roll hunt videos, for example. Enjoy your day and have a sublime start in this new year of 2020. All the best and take care. Enjoy!